Okay, looks like both the chats are working. Very good, very good. And now we can turn on our lens. Or the shutter thing. Just so we can track properly. Anyway, though. Let's get ourselves a little straightened out, though. Then we'll do it proper. There we go. Perfect. Alright then. Intro. Well, music first, too. Let me get the BRB thing here. There we go. Perfect. Salutations, everyone. This is Terence here. How's everyone doing today? Hope you're all doing well. And if you don't know me, I am Terence. I am an idol in training, hoping to bring smiles, laughter, and joy to everyone around the world. It's nice to meet you all. Also, usually playing games as well as running talk shows that are incredibly scuffed. So, yep, I know you guys noticed the background's a little bit different, but we're gonna transition over quite soonish. Oh yeah, let's lower our volume on the phone. For a minute there, it almost started freaking out on me. There we go. But yeah. How's everyone doing today? As for me, I'm doing pretty damn good, actually. We pretty much got off from work a good couple hours ago, and then we started watching some streams, some stream thoughts of Mario Party Jamboree. Also, I hope the thing isn't too loud. Yep, and hello, Retro Tales and Kuru. Welcome to the stream. How you both doing today? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm just keeping both chats on here just for the hell of it, because why not? But yeah, how about we go ahead and switch to our office, shall we? Here we go. Whoosh. Yep, here we are in our fancy little office. Well, pretty scuffed looking office, but you know, it gets the job done. I'm good. How was your day, Terrence? My day has been pretty chill so far after getting off work. Well, like I said before, I was watching some stream footage / gameplay of Mario Party Jamboree, and I'm probably going to eventually get the game. Not really sure when, though, but we'll pretty much get the game eventually, because I know since that's pretty much been popular, we may as well go ahead and get the new Mario Party game just to see what that's like. Although we're probably not going to be doing any streams of it, because we're just going to be saving that for milestones and whatnot. Because after all, what better way to do celebration streams and milestone streams by celebrating it with multiplayer stuff? I think that'll be pretty good. Oh, good to hear you actually played it, and good to hear you thought it was fun. Oh, yep, I did see some reviews on the game too, and apparently the IGN, which is usually known for not making the best reviews, actually gave the game like a 9 out of 10 and practically say it was like the best Mario Party game to date. So that's pretty reassuring news right there, if we do end up getting the game. Though I'm kind of curious about what those other modes are going to be like too, because I have been watching some of the trailers and stuff on it, and my god, some of that stuff looks really chaotic. Would be a nice gift But I'm also kind of trying to save up most of my money for the Mario and Luigi Brotherhood game. Wait, why am I suddenly losing frames now? We haven't even started. Okay, we're good. But yeah. Oh, yep, on to the main topic. Let's talk about Halloween. Yep. As far as Halloween goes, I think from growing up, to me, Halloween pretty much always meant there was always a costume party to go to, or there was trick-or-treating. And then there's also a lot of pumpkin-like foods, too. I mean, I think the last thing I want to think about is pumpkin-flavored things. Although I do kind of like pumpkin pie, at least. Pumpkin pie is pretty good. Although if you had to choose between pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie, which I think both of those look pretty good, I would probably have to say I kind of like pumpkin pie a little bit more. Maybe so. What about you, Chad? If you had to choose between pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie, which would you like better? I think next thing you know, there's probably going to be like pumpkin-flavored Pop-Tarts now. Oh, yep, if you guys can also look at the bottom right of your screen, we do have our doggo here. Just make him a little bigger. Oh, just pumpkin, huh? Okay. Ah, that's kind of interesting. Oh yeah, now that we can actually make polls with these things, maybe we can actually do that. Make a poll here. Yeah, we can settle it with a nice little poll. Since voting season is pretty much in. Although I'm not really sure if sweet potato pie can fit in this entire thing. Oh, actually, I think it can. Okay, it can. It can actually fit in here. All right, then. Poll begin. There you go. Settle it with your little debates. No, there's not too many people here, but that's okay, though. No, all the more fun. Do. Oh, I just noticed there's no freaking music here. Okay, let's fix that. There we go. There we go. See that? We're really good at improvising. But yeah, another thing that I usually think about when it comes to Halloween is, well, like I said, costume parties and trick-or-treating. And I think as far as trick-or-treating memories go, I think when I was a kid, I was pretty much growing up with watching Power Rangers and such. And I always kind of thought that my favorite Power Ranger was the Blue Ranger. So I'd say my first Halloween costume around that time was the Blue Power Ranger. Which, if I remember correctly, the Blue Power Ranger from the very first Power Ranger season that I saw had pretty much a Triceratops sword, which I did kind of thought the Triceratops pretty much one of the more cooler dinosaurs because of the 3 horns it has. Was pretty good. It's pretty goated, actually. Of course, in the 90s, of course, in like that time, dinosaurs were very, very popular, and nowadays, it's all about zombies. Although as far as that goes, I'm surprised no one has pretty much made a game where there's practically zombies versus dinosaurs now. There probably is a game out there that exists, but I probably haven't seen it though, so maybe it might exist. Maybe there might be like a zombies versus dinosaur game out there that I haven't seen, but I would probably like to see that. But probably the zombies would win because then all the dinosaurs would end up being zombie dinosaurs. Of course, of course. Oh yeah, and I think there was also like dinosaur themed costumes too as well. I mean, maybe zombie dinosaurs eat dead meat anyways, raw. Of course, that is true. There's carnivore dinosaurs, and then there's the herbivore dinosaurs. But we're not gonna go into any super dinosaur stuff here. This is mostly about stuff we see on Halloween, of course. That's the topic here. Yep, I know there has been some dinosaur costumes as well as some other stuff. And hello, Mimo. Welcome to the stream. Oh, that's pretty funny, actually. There we go. Noise. We don't celebrate Halloween much here. Ah, I see. Interesting. Oh, yep. Here in America, Halloween is celebrated quite a bit, actually. And of course, usually when it comes to Halloween stuff, people either go trick-or-treating and such. Oh yeah, I don't think I told you guys about the last time I went trick-or-treating. I believe I was pretty much in elementary school level, and I think we were pretty much trick-or-treating with my brothers. I was pretty much a blue Power Ranger, and I think the last outfit that I remember one of my brothers wore was like a vampire, and I kind of don't remember what the oldest one was. Probably like a skeleton, maybe. In fact, I do have my really old Halloween costume that I bought like a year ago still here, which is pretty much like a skeleton kind of suit. Yep. So that was pretty much one of my things. Oh, yep, and I think the second time I went trick-or-treating, I decided to switch up my costumes up, and by that I mean like bug my parents about that too, and decided to be like a Grim Reaper. Which that's practically my second Halloween costume, and I think as we pretty much got older and older, we pretty much just stopped celebrating Halloween altogether. Although it would be kind of interesting for that. Also, I'm kind of surprised that poll isn't really appearing on the phone side of things. Or maybe it's because I'm like a few moments behind. But it's okay. And of course, I think nowadays when people think of Halloween now, pretty much from the streamer side of things, pretty much everyone's going to be doing a whole month-long marathon of horror games. And or maybe even something around those lines too. I mean, we're octopus and aquatic creatures. I doubt there would be much celebration. And we feed sea monsters. We eat sea monsters, of course. I mean, I don't think that means you can't really celebrate it. I think that just means you guys are practically more monstrous than any other monster that's there. Do. But of course. As far as other things go, yep, there is of course the horror games, which you can pretty much expect me to play Dead by Daylight, like pretty much around next week. And if we're lucky, we may have some guests joining us while we do Dead by Daylight. Which I put up a little poll on that game just to see, hey guys, which horror game you want to see for Halloween. And so far, Dead by Daylight is standing up again and winning by 59% of the votes. Oh yep, I also put it up the Outlast Trials, which I recently bossed as well. And then there is also Darkwood, which I had for a while, but I haven't really played that much of it. Actually, I did play that much of it, and I saw some really dark stuff in that game. And by dark stuff, I mean like pretty much zombies and centipede monsters. On the surface, human think of our tentacles as cosplay. Well, yep, I think they would be good cosplay. I mean, I guess Dark Souls would technically be Halloween themed. I mean, I'm not really sure the difference between dark fantasy and flat-out horror, though. Because, I mean, both of them pretty much have very creepy imagery and stuff that practically get under your skin. At least for me, that is. I've always found that stuff to be a little scary, but never scary enough to the point where it's not worth it, though. I think for the most part, for me, I kind of don't really touch Dark Souls that much because I generally don't have the patience to put up with, don't really have the time or patience to constantly learn from my mistakes and constantly trying to grind for souls after every single thing I die from. Because I generally always have like a love-hate relationship with Souls-like games. I love their gameplay and their mechanics, but I don't like how punishing they are. As far as horror games go, I think there's a lot of them that pretty much just involves you to run and hide from the killers and stuff instead of actually defend yourself against the killers. And those are the ones I kind of don't really enjoy playing that much because usually I kind of think that's a little boring for me, and I would also just would stop being more scary and just become more and more frustrating. Especially if you play games like Outlast and such. I don't think I remember the last time I legitimately got scared from a horror game, though. I think there was that one part from the content warning where we randomly had that that I randomly had that spider enemy practically trying to attack us before we leave our ship. And I think that was a collab with Nix, Cassio, and Ursa. And I just pretty much remember constantly getting DC'd from that, and I only got to get like maybe 1 or 2 games in that thing because the game kept DCing me over and over again. But yeah, that game was kind of interesting to say the least. I mean, generally PC games for me is usually very on or off a lot though. Sometimes they can pretty much work for me and then other times they don't. And then when you try to get them to work, they just decide to just be jerks. Oh yeah, speaking of costume parties, chat. How many of you actually been to a costume party? Have any interesting stories you want to say from that? Oh, I just realized I have this file thing open. Let's close that. Can't have too many tabs open, otherwise OBS starts whining like a little bitch. And hello, Inochi, welcome to the stream. We're talking about Halloween stuff today. Oh, yep, I think another thing when I also think about Halloween is some of the weird decorations people put around their houses too. I got a wild story when I worked in a restaurant. Halloween story if you want to hear about it. Sure, let's hear it. After all, most of my Halloween stories aren't the most remarkable, so I always like to hear about other people's experiences as well. Although, I think the last time that last Halloween was actually pretty eventful though. And I think that was when I went to a haunted house with some of my co-workers too. Or was that maybe like 2 years ago? But it was pretty fun though. I didn't really get that scared until I saw a guy with a chainsaw though. Because despite the fact that chainsaws aren't their most effective weapons, they are very, very scary once you see them. Oh yeah, why don't we go ahead and check some of our other socials too while we're just looking around. Okay, nice. Okay, let's see. I was working at a cashier at a restaurant and my manager was a very flamboyant gay fellow. Cool dude. Anyways, someone approaches the counter with a giant pastel outfit and his feet were the balls. Oh, okay, that's pretty wild actually. That kind of sounds like that freaking Malchinian like alien from Men in Black. I looked towards my manager, Pete. I said, "Hey Pete, this one's for you." Neat. Oh, that's pretty neat. Pete got something neat, I see. Noise. Nice, nice. Okay, that was pretty interesting, actually. But I have a feeling there might be a little bit more. Pete then proceeds to not only say this is a fun family establishment, get out now. Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, let's just go ahead and be very sus during Halloween, huh? Yep, imagine costume. Yep, imagine flirting with people while wearing costumes, huh? I mean, I guess you could say our Vtuber models are kind of like costumes, I guess. Simultaneously, he gives the figure notion, call me at the same time. Ah, I see. Very interesting. Yes, call me if you want some balls. Very neat, very neat. Yeah, wasn't that a good story there, Doggo? I still haven't thought of a name for you. Here you go. Yes, it was. Woof. Yep. Thanks for your input, buddy. Thanks for your input. I appreciate it. Never had I seen two balls and Jiggle go furiously out the door, and needless to say, my manager, Pete, had a very derpy smiled expression on November 1st. End story. Ah, I see. Oh, yep, that's definitely one hell of a Halloween prank right there. Right. And I think what made it even funnier is that the manager also tried to flirt with the guy too. Yeah, I probably will. Yeah, imagine seeing that crap at a McDonald's. Well, actually, now that I think about that, I think I saw like someone do like a prank video of them going through the drive-thru headless, and some of the workers out there was actually kind of freaking out about that. But then I also saw another lady also made a comment saying, "Where's your head at, boy?" Which actually kind of made me kind of chuckle a bit, because she knew it was a joke the whole time, and I'm just looking at the thing figuring out, how's this guy actually going through the drive-thru without a head? Did he have like little freaking holes or something inside that thing? The little costume? But the wildest part to me was the costume. The balls jiggled every step he took. I can never unsee that. I know, right? I don't think anyone could ever unsee that. Which that pretty much kind of reminds me of the one time that I almost can't unsee when I was working at a freaking nursing home too. Which I never really told this story before. But it's also a very, very weird story. But it's the topic of Halloween, so I think that's pretty much what we can stick to too. 10 years later, still can't unsee it? Of course. I don't think I would probably also unsee that. Oh, yep. I think another thing that I also think about when it comes to Halloween, it's also the Castlevania games as well. You're probably asking, why do I think of Castlevania? Because most of the stuff in Castlevania is very gothic horror themed. It's not quite horror game material, but it has a lot of horror-like imagery in there. Through pixels, of course. A lot of blood, a lot of swearing, and of course it involves the badass Belmont clan whose sole mission is pretty much to kill Dracula as well as the many monsters that serve him. But of course, I think I played a decent amount of Castlevania games too, so I can probably tell you guys a little bit about Castlevania if you don't know about it. Which, how many of you actually know about Castlevania? Or what was your first Castlevania games? Oh, I just remember when he answered, he was standing tall and saying, "Are you happy to see me?" Ah, I see. Not only he didn't say that, he was saying, "Are you happy to see these balls? And my pee-pee?" Oh, yep, I know, right? Yep, gotta love that. Of course, that guy knew what he was doing, apparently. He knew what he was doing. Of course, gotta love that stuff. Yep, that just shows how demented I am too. I can almost see the sus coming from a mile away, even when I get like a brief description of the sus. But that also shows how overly dirty-minded I am, despite the fact that I try to be somewhat kid-friendly, even though I'm not that kid-friendly. Because sometimes I do need to put a bit of a restraining order on my mouth before I start getting in trouble, which hence why I'm an idol. Or at least try to be an idol. Because I can never stop the sus from entering my brain. Okay, looks like we have an interesting one. Another Halloween story. Went dressed as Ashitaka from Princess Mononoke for a bar Halloween costume contest party, and met someone at a bar trying to cosplay as Zelda, and we end up dancing together, however. Okay. Okay, I feel like this is probably gonna lead somewhere to accidental or misunderstanding. Oh yeah, let's check the poll here. Oh wow, someone actually voted for sweet potato pie. Okay. Okay, nice. Sweet potato pie deserves more love after all. Together. However, a previous year, someone dressed up as San from Princess Mononoke, and I was hoping to find her in hopes of seeing her from the previous year to the next year, because I thought the girl was cute. Oh yep, heroine from Princess Mononoke was really cute. Nevertheless, the Zelda girl and I dated a few months before she dumped me on my birthday. Holy shit. Wow, that's pretty messed up, actually. That's right. That's like a reverse happy birthday right there. That's like a freaking unhappy birthday. Yep, sorry to hear that, though. Yep, ain't that something right there, folks. I wish I had a better story there, but it was nice dating her while it lasted, even if it was short. Understandable. Yep. Oh yeah, that also reminds me, when I also pretty much went trick-or-treating, we also did bring some flashlights because, of course... like her. Oh yep, that was funny. Okay. I'll have to finish your story. Oh yep, I think the last time I pretty much went trick-or-treating in elementary school was pretty interesting. I think we had some flashlights and I didn't really think I got as much candy as my brothers, but I remember getting like a pretty neat stack of candy. And I think some of them had some Reese's in it, and ever since I pretty much tried out Reese's, I've been in love with Reese's for a long time. Pretty neat here. Oh yep, I was also talking about Castlevania as well. Oh yep, first Castlevania game was Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Which that was on the PlayStation, which my PlayStation was always constantly hogged by my dad and brothers. But yeah. And I think I remember not getting too far in the game. And I think I probably never really got to the inverted castle until a good couple years later when I had a PS3. Because I saw the game for a while and my memories as a kid playing it pretty much came back to me. So we pretty much getting it on our PS3 as PlayStation Classics, I believe, and played the crap out of it. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. And I think the last time I also played, we actually did go to the inverted castle, because the thing I learned about the requirements of getting there was we had to get like something called the gold and the silver rings, and then once we had those, we can actually find Shaft and kill him. Oh yeah, looks like another story. I always had a crazy and wild outrageous costume ideas for Halloween, but my parents would meddle with the concept and expecting me to do something scary, and my ideas were more comedic. For example, one year I wanted to be a state's census man. Another was an IRS agent where I would tax them for candy. Oh, that's pretty funny. Oh yeah, IRS pretty much also reminds me of a pro wrestler that also wrestles too. But he always pretty much has the catchphrase, "Don't forget to do your taxes and such." But little did I know is that the IRS actually stands for his wrestling name. Alright, let's see if I can look this up. Gotta fact check myself before I say something silly. VIRS. Oh, yep, his name is Mike Rotunda, but his wrestler name. Oh, yep. Erwin R. Schneider. Ah, yep, there we go. There we go. Thank you, Wikipedia, for being my friend. But my mom made me wear a ghost mask on top of my IRS concept, ruining it. Oh, that's actually a pretty funny concept right there in and of itself. You're pretty much an IRS agent that pretty much end up getting killed by someone who did killed for someone for not paying their taxes. So now you're pretty much a ghost, pretty much haunting the person who didn't pay their taxes. I think that works out. Although, of course, you have to find some way to get the ghost to wear a friggin' business suit and try to scare the shit out somebody, but I think that would work, actually. Pretty much curse of the cursed IRS agent haunting a guy for not doing his taxes. That would be one hell of a story right there. Oh, you're a haunted businessman, IRS ghost agent, whatever, kid. Here's some candy. Get out of here. Slip. I know, right? That would be great. I'm pretty sure someone would pretty. I'm pretty sure someone would probably get the joke. Literally a full interaction there, not even joke. I see. Interesting. Alright, let's go ahead and drink some of this Sprite here. I think I've kind of yapped a bit, actually. There we go, beautiful. Oh, that's room temperature Sprite right there. Which room temperature Sprite usually doesn't really taste the best, but it keeps me refreshed. I was miserable at the end of the night, and that wasn't what I was trying to convey. As that wasn't what I was trying to convey. Okay. Yeah. Gotta hate it when people kinda misinterpreted your costume ideas and such. Especially when you put a lot of thought into it as well. Yeah, that's kind of how my parents were when I was a kid, of course. Especially when it's about money. Because anything that's too expensive for them, they'll pretty much won't do. At least nowadays. Because, when I was around that time, parents were pretty much hard workers. The only Halloween costumes I liked without my family meddling for it to be scary, was Mario and the Geico Gecko. The Geico Gecko I won a cost test for Fru and won $20 for it. Ooh, nice. Ah, that's pretty nice. Pretty neat. Ah, yep, I think, my current costume actually cost me around $80, actually. Which, if you guys do want to see the costume that my current Halloween costume, you'll have to dig through my Discord photos for that. Which I'm not just gonna reveal that on stream, otherwise, well, I mean, I already did like an IRL stream before, so I think some people will probably know what I look like anyway. But I prefer to not do that stuff while I still have a model up. Do 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 do. This year I got no costume at the moment, but I hope to do something fun last minute this year. Oh, whoa, what the crap? Wow, the tracking, hey, get back to position, boy. There we go. Wow, you just randomly started freaking out of nowhere. Do. This year I got no costume at the moment, but I hope to do something fun last minute this year. Ah, that's nice. Good luck with that. Wish you luck. Okay, looks like you're kind of freaking out a bit. Oh, yep, gotta love it. I'm doing squats. Even though I'm not trying to do squats. And now I'm leaning to the front. Okay, there we go. Okay, camera, you're starting to be a little bit difficult today. Okay, are you done being difficult? Anyway, as a bonus for you guys, I think we can do a quick little tier list on the Castlevania games. Because why not? I mean, I need any excuse I can to actually farm content after all. And since it's Halloween, I think it's a perfect time to bring up Castlevania. Let's make ourselves a little bit here. Doggo, you can go a little bit off screen, buddy. Actually, you can go over here. Here, I'll make myself a little smaller. Smaller. You're shrinking because of the things. There we go. Oh yeah, let's. But no. Nope. Make it a little smaller. There we go. Put you over here. If I make you invisible, the background music goes away. It's you. There we go. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Of course. Psycho for Borderlands. Yeah, I think that would be a good costume. Be a very good costume. Mostly just something to wear when the kids show up wanting Snickers and Reese's. Ah, yep, true. Nailed it. Here we have everything from S all the way to D. Although personally I think we should, which means these games aren't going to be too bad. So first up we have here, chat, is the very first Castlevania. Which, as far as what I can say about the very first Castlevania is, it is goated. Very, very good. one of the pioneers of the platform genre. When you look at it now, the 8-bit graphics are a bit dated and don't really feature a whole lot of horror going for it. But its gameplay and amazing soundtrack made up for everything here. And pretty much kickstarted everything we know and love about Castlevania. From Simon Belmont to Dracula, and as well as some of all the sub-weapons you have in it. And so, I think, but if I were to compare it to every other Castlevania game later down the line, I'd say it's probably pretty good, but I think even to this day, I think it ages pretty well. Other than the fact that the jumping mechanics are a bit stiff, so I think as far as that goes, we can pretty much give you A tier. I think you deserve it for being highly playable even to this day, even though you're a very, very difficult game. Don't get me started with those Medusa heads and the knockback. But I think A is very appropriate for you, my friend. And say something either incoherent when they show up to the door alone. Something, I'm sharing my meat bicycle. Take candy from my brother's pumpkin skull guts. Ah, nice. Although, I wonder if any of those kids would actually know what Borderlands is. Unless they saw the movie, which I think that movie probably wasn't that well received, though. Oh, anyway, we also have Vampire Killer, which is for the MSX, and this is where they pretty much tried to take the first game and try to make it more of a Metroidvania-ish kind of thing. I haven't quite played it myself, but I heard a lot of interesting things. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make another thing here too. Add row below you, and then we'll name it Haven't Played, like last time. Haven't Played. There we go. Perfect. So you can go there, Mr. Vampire Killer. Killer of vampires. Which, that's actually the name of the whip the Belmont clan uses. Which, of course. And then next up is Simon's Quest, Castlevania 2. Well, Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, which this one actually tries to go to more action RPG route, where you actually have like a town to talk to people, as well as some... well as a big open world to explore, as well as a day and night cycle. And I think this game is known for having lots and lots of cryptic shit inside of it, to the point where you'll probably need a copy of Nintendo Power or an online walkthrough nowadays to try to beat it. Especially when it comes to that one very infamous puzzle slash gimmick where you pretty much had to go to the bottom of the screen, kneel down, and then pray for a tornado to come pick you up. There's that very obscure kind of trick, but also very well known trick as well. But of course, this was one of the games I also haven't played as well. But the game got a lot of good fan translations and a few reductions of it, to the point where it gave itself quite a legacy. So I think for legacy reasons, I'll put you in B tier. even though we haven't really played it. But if I were to play it, I probably would say it was a game that was pretty much ahead of its time, and they were just experimenting with things since they wanted to do something different with it. I have here's Haunted Castle, the arcade version of Castlevania, which I also haven't played, but I heard a lot of bad things about it. Like, very much a lot of bad things about it. Regardless if they get it or not, maybe they'll get it when they get older and laugh it off when finally we get it years later. Maybe. It'll be an interesting memory. Yep. Oh, yep. Haunted Castle. I think you were known for playing pretty bad, so I think you can go to the D tier. But I also haven't played it either, so there's that. Then there's Castlevania The Adventure, which I think this is one of the Game Boy games, actually. Which I don't think I played too many Game Boy games as a kid. And I think the ones I usually remember the most would have to be either... trying to think. Yeah, Pokemon was one. And then I think the other one I played was this one game called Small Soldiers, which I actually didn't quite like until my mom got me Pokemon Blue, and then I played the crap out of that. I just wasn't really following what's popular, and I couldn't really tell the difference between good and bad games when I was a child. I think nowadays, my taste is pretty much for games has gone a little bit up, though. Okay, Adventure Rebirth. I think I heard a few good things about you. Haven't played it myself, so I think you can go here. Oh yeah, come to think of it, I think they actually did add some Castlevania games to the Nintendo Switch Online, so I think we could probably try you out off stream just for the sake of doing that. You know what, since I haven't played Haunted Castle, I'll probably put you here too. And then there's Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, which I think a lot of people really love the crap out of Dracula's Curse because I think it was a prequel to the first Castlevania game in terms of story, had a lot more playable characters as well as branching paths. Although unfortunately the one thing that kinda ends up breaking this game is the entire your final battle with Dracula, which had like 3 different forms and you pretty much had to do all that crap in one sitting. And then if you failed, you pretty much had to do that in the entire level where you face Dracula again. So that was pretty BS right there. So I think for that fact alone, I think I can probably put you in A tier. It was also stupid hard too. So yeah. And here we have Kid Dracula. I'm not sure if this is like the NES version or the Game Boy version, but I'm judging from the text, it's pretty much the NES version. I don't think a lot of people consider this a Castlevania game, but this is pretty much a different take on it, where you actually do play as Dracula, and Dracula is pretty much a little Saiyan-like little guy, and pretty much fights against other villains that aren't the Belmont clan. Which I did play this game a good couple years ago, back when the home PC can actually take in a ROM or two / emulation. And I thought this game was pretty good. It kind of reminded me of Mega Man for some reason. And then I think after fighting the first boss a few times, it was pretty fun. So I think but you don't really qualify as a Castlevania game, so I'll pretty much put you in B tier. Well, actually, I think I'll probably put you in A tier. I think you deserve a little bit more than that, since I'm saying, hey, I like the game. But it's also one of those games that I did kind of like, but it didn't quite blow me away, though. And Belmont's Revenge, I have not even played this one or even heard of it. So I think I'll put you here. I feel like you're probably one of the Game Boy ones, or probably on another system that I am not really sure about. But now, chat, we are on to probably the holy grail of classic Castlevania games. And that is Super Castlevania 4, which is also a decent remake of the first game, and a follow-up as well. You played as Simon Belmont, fighting Dracula again. They had a really neat effects on the Super Nintendo, though that actually utilized its features pretty well. The Mode 7, background effects, the levels, and the music. I'd say pretty much everything about Super Castlevania 4 was peak. Even the whipping and the jumping mechanics were improved. Which now, in this game, you can pretty much do your basic attack, which is your weapon, in as many directions as you can, like diagonal, upward, downward, or as well as any other direction. You can also hold the button to move the chain, move the little whip around and such as well. And so everything about this one was amazing. So with all that said, folks, Super Castlevania 4 is an S tier. An absolute fucking S tier right there. Also, hello Isabel, welcome to the stream. We're talking about Halloween as well as doing a tier list on pretty much my favorite Halloween themed franchise here, Castlevania. Oh yeah, on to the next Castlevania we have here, which is Castlevania Rondo of Blood, which this was a Castlevania game that I didn't really get to experience that much until the Wii's Virtual Console. And I'd say when I played it, and if I compare it to Super Castlevania, it's not nearly as good, but it has a fantastic opening. It introduced item crashes, as well as having another playable character as well, who is Maria, who pretty much controls animals and makes animals attack for her. So there was that. And she also controlled and played very differently from Richter as well. Oh yeah, Richter's the new Belmont that we're playing as, and according to some people, or the Castlevania canon, I think, Richter is actually the strongest Belmont in the series. But don't quote me on that. But yeah, Rondo of Blood was kind of mostly the same thing as the other ones, but this one pretty much had a much more fleshed out story. from the PC engine, I think. So overall, I'd say from the sheer production of it, as well as the gameplay and its music, and everything else about it, I think it deserves an S tier as well. Although I'm not really sure if that's like the Super Nintendo Dracula X or the other one. Unless this could be it. Anyway, moving on. Castlevania Bloodlines, which Castlevania Bloodlines I did play a little bit, and I'd say it's also really good. Also, I think they also started putting in some of the people from the Bram Stoker novel into it too, because well, Castlevania was originally inspired by Bram Stoker's Dracula films, which of course Dracula is also very iconic as well, which I'm not going to go into too much details about it because history lessons can be saved for later. So yep, this one had two playable characters, John Morris and Eric Lacard, and both of them played pretty differently. Eric pretty much had a spear that he can pretty much attack in multiple directions, whereas John Morris had the whip. And I believe, I'm not really sure if Dracula was the main villain in this game, but I imagine he probably is. But I do know that the character Vampire Camilla ends up being an appearance in this game. So I'd say it was pretty great, had fantastic music, very much peak as well. So I think you deserve an A tier. But would I put it above Dracula's Curse or You is debatable. I think as far as classic Castlevania goes, I would probably say it's still above the original. But I don't see it being better than Rondo of Blood or You or Super Castlevania 4. And I think this is another Rondo of Blood. I think this is pretty much maybe the Super Nintendo version. But I could be wrong about the box art though, so Super Nintendo version was massively gimped compared to the PC engine, so I'd say you deserve a C tier. But I wouldn't say that it's an awful game. You know what? Let's put Simon's Quest in C tier too. Yep. I think those two games are pretty equal. Simon's Quest in C tier mostly because of the sheer amount of cryptic it is. But I think they do have like a better version of that game in Bloodstain as well. But that's just me though. And here we're on to Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which this game has pretty much a massive nostalgia grab on me, and I'd say pretty much one of the best Castlevania games ever made, so I don't think there's much needs to be said about this, but going into freaking S tier. And yes, I am gonna put it above Super Castlevania 4, only because of its said nostalgia grip. Oh yeah, but next up, Castlevania Legends, which I have not played this either, so really isn't much I can say about it other than I think this probably might be the first time well, not really the first time, one of the very few times there was a female lead you play as. Yes, but I haven't really touched it past then, so yep, you go to the haven't played spot. And the other kid, Dracula, you kind of look like the Game Boy version. Which I don't recall playing you, but I thought you were pretty interesting. So you go to the haven't played list. And here we're on to Castlevania 64, which I think a lot of people probably didn't like this game, which I think this is one of the Castlevania games I did play. I thought it was interesting, to say the least, back when I rented it at Blockbuster, but I don't think I made it too far, and I remember the game being pretty freaking hard. So I think with that said, but then I kind of also saw some reviews on the game as well, having people pretty much consistently crap on it and such, which haven't really gotten far enough to it myself, but I can't really say I like the game either. Like the game that much either. It's not really bad, but I wouldn't say it's the worst thing I've done. Worst game I played. But compared to every other game on the list, it's not that good, so you'll be in our first D tier. And Legacy of Darkness, I haven't played, but I hear is a huge improvement over the first one. So whenever the frick Konami decides to re-release it, I will probably play it. But until then, you go into the haven't played tier. Up in here we have Castlevania Circle of the Moon, which I have played. And I'd say it was pretty good. I'd still say it's really good for what it is. I really enjoyed its gameplay, the exploring castle, so and such. I think the only thing I probably didn't like about it is that it plays a little bit stiff compared to a lot of the other Metroidvania-like Castlevania games, especially Symphony of the Night. And it's also pretty hard too. I think probably the hardest one in its genre, I believe. And then there was also the tarot card system where killing certain enemies will get you certain cards, and then you have to mix the cards together, get certain abilities and such. And I think this also came out around the time where everything was pretty much a card battle game at that point too, so yeah. Card mechanic wasn't too bad, but it probably took a lot of experimenting to figure out. So I think my verdict on you, Circle the Moon, would have to be I'd want to say A tier. Also, I noticed I haven't put a single B tier in this list. But usually I tend to draw from that. You know what, let's put you in the B tier just so you can fill in that spot. I mean, it wasn't bad, but I wouldn't say that it's horrible, especially when you compare it to Simon's Quest. I think that's pretty fair. Yeah, I keep moving tiers around, I know. Stick to one opinion, Terence. Otherwise, your opinion's invalid. And here we have Castlevania Chronicles, which I think this was a remake of the first game, which this was also put on like a PC called the Sharp X68000, I believe, which is pretty much a classic Castlevania on the PlayStation, which I haven't played, but I heard some interesting things, so we'll put you on that tier and list. Which, nothing wrong with classic Castlevania, of course. Just generally not my preferences. Up here we have Harmony of Dissonance, which in my opinion is not as bad as some other people make it out to be. But I'd say it's pretty underwhelming though. Because from what I played from you so far, Harmony of Dissonance, is that I think you probably might have like really good gameplay, as well as some of the best movement I've seen from Castlevania. Especially with Belmont, because you have like a little forward dash that also acts as a slide too, which makes dodging enemy attacks a lot more efficiently. You can also use other weapons as well besides the whip, I believe. Really neat stuff. And I also think you were slightly easier than Circle of the Moon. The only real gripe that I might have with you is that your soundtrack and your music is absolute dog shit. As well as the plot is also really weird too, so overall, I think you deserve a B tier compared to Circle of the Moon. But I also think you're pretty good too. I think if we can just fix the music with you, you'd probably be around A or S tier though. And here we have Aria of Sorrow, which out of most of the Metroidvania / Castle games, or Igavania as people call it, pretty much my favorite out of these ones, because not only do you have different weapons, but you also get various powers as well. And those become really goated once you get your hands on a really good combination of abilities. Which you pretty much had a lot of experimenting with the side of weaponry, and you can also buy stuff as well. It also pretty much also has the best story, in my opinion, out of the Igavanias out there too, so it's also really good. I think probably might be a little shorter than other games, but I don't think Castlevania needs to be long though. So I think with that said though, I'm putting you in S tier. In fact, not just S tier, you're also going to be very high S tier, right above these games. And I know some Castlevania fans are probably thinking I'm high for doing this shit, but it's my list, not yours. And here we have Castlevania Lament of Innocence, which I remember this game for its trailer. The very first time I seen this was at an E3 trailer, I believe, where this guy pretty much talked about killing the knight, aka Leon Belmont, and probably the origin of the whole devil killer. From what I've seen from this game, it's essentially what happens when you mix Devil May Cry and put the Castlevania license on it. So I think as far as that goes, I haven't played it myself, but from what I've seen from it so far, it looked pretty fun. So I would definitely, I'll put you in the haven't played tier, just because I think you'd be very interesting, and I think you belong there too. And here we have Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, which I also haven't played, but Konami also released the Dominance collection of it, so I would love to try it out once we get to that collection. Once we have the money for it, that is. They say once we have the money for it, we'll probably try it out. Just to see if it's any good or better than Aria of Sorrow here, which it is a sequel to. So here you go. You go in the haven't played list as well. Now, Castlevania Curse of Darkness, I actually did somewhat played. And by somewhat played, I mean I played the demo of it that came into the PlayStation magazine, and I thought the game looked a little bit on the muddy side. I did kind of thought it was a little bland at first, but I think as I played and learned some of its controls and mechanics, I started to like it a little bit more. I can't say the same about its story though, but I will go as far as say it's really interesting, to say the least. But I think from the demo I played, it was actually pretty good. Nothing groundbreaking, but I wouldn't say it's the absolute worst I played, so I'll go ahead and put you in B tier. And now here we have Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, which another one I haven't played, so I'll put you in this tier here. Haven't played tier, but I at least knew a little bit about the reputation, which you actually play as two characters, Jonathan and Charlotte, in which the story, I think, believes in Dracula's castle or Dracula's powers pretty much being sealed into portraits and such, and you pretty much go into portraits and probably seal them away to stop Dracula, I think. But that's just me making that up. And then here's another Castlevania game I have not played. Let me zoom in a bit. Castlevania Order of Shadows. Oh yeah, I think this was that cell phone looking game. I think from what I've seen, it didn't really look too good, but I also haven't played it either, so there's that. You can go to the haven't played tier list. Actually, from what I've seen, you looked very fucking clunky, so I think I'll put you in D. And yes, I learned how to zoom in and out by using mouse wheel. Isn't that neat, chat? And here we have the Dracula X Chronicles. That's also pretty much a remake of Rondo of Blood, which has pretty much started 2.5D the trend that we see now. Getting a little tired, actually. See how we're looking. Oh wow, holy crap. Oh yeah, let's lock this window too. You know, just to prevent scrolling after all. And let's go ahead and move you a little bit here and reposition you. There we go, nice. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now back to the list. I have Dracula X Chronicles. Personally, chat, I kind of didn't really like the redesigns of Richter and what was the girl named Maria. I didn't really like their redesigns, but I do kind of like the fact that they have a little bit more cutscenes to flesh out the game's story a bit more. And this also was made on the PSP, which the PSP had a very, very weird lineup of games as well. But of course, its game, Dracula X's gameplay is still really good, so I can't really fault it on anything, but I'll give you a high B tier that's above you. No, actually, let's put you an A. You deserve the A. Mostly because gameplay was still pretty good, and I think Symphony of the Night pretty much came with it as well. And I believe they actually reworked the dubbing and got new voice actors for it too. Which by then, I think the story actually became a little bit more serious and less campy in that remake too. Or retranslation or recasting or whatever. And here we have, let me zoom in, mouse wheel of Castlevania Order of Ecclesia, which this also goes into the haven't played list. So yeah, but it also had a pretty interesting story though, you know, as well as some interesting mechanics too, so don't want to fault it too much on anything. Well, I can't really fault it if I haven't played it. And now we have Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth, which is a remake of the Game Boy Castlevania game. Which, this kind of came out around the time where I did see it, but I think the reason why I haven't really got it around the time because I couldn't really get into classic Castlevania as much as I enjoyed the Symphony of the Night style of Castlevania. It pretty much was around the time where I kind of just outgrew that style of Castlevania. The classic style, I mean. To the point where I didn't really give this a fair chance, and hopefully we'll be able to play it again, which for as many times as they actually had Castlevania collections, I am horribly surprised I didn't include this game in those collections either. So I'd say for that reason and that reason alone, you go to the haven't played tier. But that's also pretty much my fault as well. Oh, yeah. Let's zoom in a bit more for some of these other ones. Alright, here we have Castlevania Judgment, which this was pretty much a fighting game, and I think a lot of people shit all over this one for being really bad and not pretty much Castlevania, and for being a fighting game. And I believe the person who illustrated Death Note also worked on the art style with this game, so it was pretty much a weird time. I personally didn't want to get it because a Castlevania fighting game sounds like it would be a really, really dumb idea. But of course, I also didn't really try to give it a fair chance either, so that's pretty much my own bias as well. So we'll pretty much put you in the haven't played tier, even though I kind of want to put you on D tier D tier just for legacy reasons of a lot of people saying the game was shit. And here we have, I believe this was an arcade game where you pretty much use motion controls to swing your whip around and attack enemies with a whip. Interesting concept, but it's not what I think about when it comes to Castlevania. So we'll put you in the haven't played tier. Oh, next up is the first Castlevania game that actually had multiplayer. That's Castlevania Harmony of Despair, which you have some of the characters from those games actually meet up and do team multiplayer. I think the initial problem that a lot of people had with this game is that the map was a little too big and then nothing was zoomed. The map was too big and they didn't really have doors in the game, so you couldn't really find a sense of discovery in these games. Oh, and hello Ellie, welcome to the stream. How are you? Hope you're doing all right. We're pretty much making a Castlevania tier list. Here's what we got so far. Are you familiar with any of the Castlevania games, Ellie? If not, that's fine too. Oh yeah, we can zoom out too. Just like that. Okay, thanks. Just finished work. Oh, nice, nice. That's good to hear, actually. I don't think so, maybe. Okay. Well, I can pretty much tell you that Symphony of the Night here is pretty much my favorite game in the series, as well as Aria of Sorrow, 4, and Rondo of Blood. And Symphony of the Night is pretty much the one where that's pretty much like one part platformer and one part RPG when you do a lot of exploring and such. And this game right here, Harmony of Despair, pretty much has that one minus the sense of discovery and such, so I think I'll put you in B. Which, not too bad, but I also seen better. Up and now we have Lords of Shadows, which I think this game pretty much ended up being the best 3D game in the Castlevania series, but also pretty much sold a lot too. Probably like one of the best selling games in this series, I think. But don't quote me on that though. But I also haven't really played it, but I heard a lot of people pretty much just compared it to God of War though. So it was essentially just God of War with a whip and a Belmont, and the member of a Belmont clan, and Dracula, I guess. So I think we'll put you in the haven't played tier because we haven't played you. But it would be interesting though. We do have some access to the games now since they are available in the Xbox and PlayStation stores, I think. But yeah, and here we have, let's zoom in a bit. Not really sure what you are. I think that's a little too zoomed in. Oh, this is Mirror of Fate. This, I think, the prequel to it, or slash sequel. Which this one pretty much was like 2.5D-ish. Kinda has the same kind of combat, but it's in a 2D plane, and I haven't really played it, but from what I've seen from it, it's been pretty good. I think if I am gonna probably get like a Lords of Shadow games in the Lord of Shadow series, it's probably this one though. So we'll put you in the haven't played tier. And here we have Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate, which this game was pretty batshit crazy from what I remember. Because it tried to have a whole bunch of genres mixed into one. And this is where Gabriel pretty much completely becomes Dracula. And so I think, since I haven't really played it, I think you can go in this tier. But I hear it pretty much is very long and it drags on too. Up in here we have the Gacha edition of Castlevania Grimoire of Souls, which is pretty much just a retelling of almost every event that happened in Castlevania, along with most of its cast and characters. Which, from what I've seen and played so far, is like a mix between classic Castlevania with several other characters involved. So I think for the most part it was okay, I guess, but it's not my favorite Castlevania, and it's probably not the worst Castlevania either, but I think a lot of people consider it the worst just because it has gacha and pay to win stuff in it though. So I think for that we'll probably put you in C tier. And now we have the Haunted Castle revision, which we have not played, or I've not played. So I think we'll pretty much put you here. And looks like that's our tier list so far. Very nice. Gonna save and download that. Man, I'm getting really tired. I guess time to play. Oh, let's continue downloading. Alright, time to close stream. There we go. And now, well, not stream, I mean the thing. But yeah, that was our little quick Castlevania tier list. Although I think that probably didn't seem that quick though. But that's okay. Yeah, maybe we should probably do something with horror games, like a horror game tier list maybe. You know, I think tier lists are pretty interesting and fun to do, just so people can get to know me a little bit more and get a sense of my taste. And I think as a content creator and as a personality, that's also very important. To give people a sense of your taste as well as things you want to do. It's all about that engagement, right? But yeah. Oh yeah, there was also like a thing that we haven't brought up as far as Halloween goes. There's also Halloween themed foods, which I mentioned pumpkin was pretty much used for pretty much everything, as well as pumpkin flavored stuff too, like things like pumpkin spice and pumpkin pies as well, pumpkin seeds too, which if we were gonna have a debate between Which do you like better, pumpkin seeds or pumpkin sunflower seeds? Not really sure what would win that debate. Alright, let's see how that poll's doing too. Oh, okay. I guess at the end of the day, nothing can beat pumpkin pie. So I think we'll end the poll here. There you go, pumpkin pie wins. By 9 votes. Well, we're about to end soon anyway, so it's all good. But anyways, though, chat, what would you say your favorite horror games are? As for myself, I enjoy the Resident Evil and Silent Hill games. Specifically Resident Evil 4. I say 4 pretty much got me back into Resident Evil as a whole after playing it on the Wii, I believe, where you actually did have motion controls in that game. So that was pretty much why I ended up liking Resident Evil 4 a lot more than most of the other Resident Evils. Also did away with that annoying static camera, which I think a lot of people still liked, and it still has its charm, of course, but I wouldn't say that I would probably say it's the best thing ever, though. I suppose the camera does add some extra immersion to it as well, but I wouldn't really say that made the games better, in my opinion. I'd say pretty much after 4, that's pretty much where Resident Evil 5 came out, and that's where it started feeling more like an action game with horror elements more than survival horror, I think. There was also the Resident Evil Revelations games, which I actually played on my Wii U, which was pretty fun, but I also am one of those guys who doesn't like to worry about his ammo too when he shoots and kills enemies, which that game pretty much had to make me think about things and how I approached them. So there was that as well. Also, I think I may have to go to an idol meeting soon, so I will be right back. We'll go right now, though. Okay, I'm back now. I brought some more tea with me too. But yeah, anyway, those. I think oh yeah, I was talking about Resident Evil. Yep, I think after Revelations, I don't think I touched that many Resident Evil games, but I would like to play the remakes of 2 as well as 3. I think 3 pretty much was pretty forgettable in my opinion, since you played as Jill in that one. And then there was, I'd say the most memorable thing about 3 would have to be Nemesis. Which I think around that time too, I was also watching the Resident Evil movies too, which the live action Resident Evil movies, where they pretty much made an entirely different story around that too. Or it actually features a character who's wasn't even part of the games and start telling an entirely different story around her. Which I'm not really sure how I feel about that, but the first movie was pretty good. Good in a very bad way, as in where the hell is the rest of the cast of Resident Evil? But that was when I was like a preteen or adult. I didn't really think too much about things. I just simply enjoyed them. Or at least enjoyed what I've seen so far, at least. I think around that time that movie got made is also when video game movies started getting more popular again. Which, now that I think about it, the first video game movie I definitely saw was the Mortal Kombat ones. Which, those movies weren't that good, but they were very entertaining and very campy though. Especially that theme song. Yep, that one. Remember that one? Oh yeah, that was a good one. Well, the only thing that was good about it was that song. Which I'm a little surprised that the original creators of using it more. I guess they probably couldn't use it because of some licensing issues, I think, but it's a little disappointing to see that kind of get lost in time, though. But anyway, back to Resident Evil, though. I'd say the remakes of 2 I really want to play. And I think a lot of people pretty much remember hating Resident Evil 6. And I think to a lot of people, Resident Evil 6 is probably the absolute worst Resident Evil game ever made for people. Maybe not the worst ever made, but maybe pretty up there with the most universally hated Resident Evil game there too. 7 I kinda want to try out as well, but that game's a little too grotesque for me, so I don't think I will. And 8 I don't think I touched at all, but of course they have the Dommy Mommy in there. And hello Hill, welcome to the stream. We're talking about Halloween stuff, Resident Evil, and you also missed me do a Castlevania tier list. But yeah, these are all just things that when I think about Halloween, I think about very horror-ish things too. Which, speaking of that too, I kind of want to try out the Silent Hill 2 remake too that just came out. Combat in that game was really fun. Some of the monsters in that look a little grotesque too. But I think as far as horror games go, I think that probably might be the best looking combat I've seen in a horror game in a while. Although $60 is little steep for me though. 60, 70 bucks. I heard that remake is fine. A rarity for Silent Hill remakes. Yeah, they're pretty much on and off most of the time. Like one tries to be fully horror and then the other one just is just kind of all over the place. But luckily this one kind of keeps the grotesque monsters and keeps the action going, so keeps the action and suspense going, which is good for the Silent Hill game, so I'd say it's definitely worth it. Worth checking out when I do. Speaking of Silent Hill games, I don't think I also touched that one where they actually have like the apartments and the ones with the two-headed baby monster in it. What's that called? Silent Hill 4 The Room, I believe. I'd say seeing that was probably the most disturbing thing I've seen so far in my eyes. Oh yeah, Silent Hill 3 was also pretty scary too, wasn't it? So yeah, I'm familiar with the franchise, but I haven't really played most of the games, unfortunately. So yeah, I kind of do want to get into those games soon. I haven't actually played most of the games. Oh yeah, same here. But of course, I've at least seen them around the time. At least seen most of them and know about them from reputation at least. And I think another thing that I was pretty familiar with as far as Silent Hill was that crazy nurse lady that was in there too. That pretty much was crazy, of course. And of course, there's the iconic Pyramid Head, which I wonder if you actually fight him you actually do fight him in the remake opposed to just dealing with him. That much I'm kind of curious about. I think I'll probably look into a video to see, hey, can you fight Pyramid Head in the Silent Hill 2 remake? Which if you actually did get into like a full-on weapon/sword fight with the guy, I probably will definitely get that shit. It's pretty high on my get list. But I also kind of want to get Resident Evil 8 because they now have like a third-person mode into it now. Which the new character, Ethan Winters, you pretty much play as him in first person, but you never really see what he looks like. Which I always kind of find that strange. Oh yeah, but apparently Chris Redfield is apparently evil in that game now too. But through all the times he pretty much been risking his life for the people and such, now he's suddenly a bad guy. Kind of reverse plot roles though. I'll have to probably look into the lore of that now. Or maybe watch a Resident Evil 8 walkthrough probably, because I'm too lazy to play horror games now. Yep, just because you have a super hot dommy mommy doesn't mean I'm gonna start simping. Yet. But yeah, looks like we're pretty much closing in on our final time here. Which is rare because I usually try to end streams around the time when I do this, but I think after drinking that tea, I think that somehow re-energized my social battery a little bit. But I never try to do super long streams. Oh yep, by the way, do you have any interesting Halloween stories you want to share with us from costume parties or trick or treat? As for myself, I haven't been to many costume parties myself, and I don't think I've went trick or treating ever since I graduated from freaking elementary school. So yeah. But I can pretty much tell you about some of my old Halloween costumes though, but they're pretty bland though. And by bland, I mean normal. Yeah, imagine being normal on Halloween. Yeah, it couldn't be me, huh? Yeah, who tries to be normal on freaking Halloween? I mean, don't worry, it's just an idol who pretty much dressed up as a Power Ranger when he was like 7 years old. The blue Power Ranger, to be exact. And that was when I was like super big into Power Rangers as well. And then of course there was a really sleek looking Grim Reaper costume I had during middle school, I believe, but I can't say I remember too well about that. But yeah, my memory's a little bit fadey. Although my mom's here, I think my mom can probably tell you some about her Halloween stories though. She could probably talk about that stuff just as much. But I don't really have the courage to say bring her on stream and then explain what streaming is, apparently. Yeah, imagine explaining to your mother what a Vtuber is. That's probably one of the most hardest things I'll probably ever do. Is just to explain what the hell any of this is and how do I do it. Because it's not very easy to set up or explain. Or at least for me, because I had the social skills of a bat. But yeah, folks, I think now is the time to go ahead and actually end the stream here now. Which, of course, we pretty much made a tier list and did a lot of rambling / yapping, of course, which I usually don't really yap a lot unless I get like super hyper or try to do too many things. So yeah, folks, if you enjoyed today's Terence Talks episodes, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more streams and more Terence Talks as well. And also, you can check out all my other socials in the description below if you want to keep track of me and tabs on me on all that good stuff. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter and such as well. Twitter and Twitch. Join my Discord server, which surprisingly my Discord server is actually active. Which of course we also have emotes on this server that you can't use until we get monetized. Until we become YouTube partners and such. Gotta build up those watch hours, folks. Gotta keep building those watch hours up. And with all that said, folks, I will see you guys tomorrow with Monster Hunter Rise with Maria-san. So until next time, folks, I will see you guys next stream. And this is Terence signing out. And now to look for our raid targets. And let's see. View. Okay, let me see. I have redirect. Research. Okay, we have William Tier, Cha-Cha, Gaming with Men, this lady Nyaru, Made Mint, Poneko, oh, Ria-san, there's Plum, and there's Prim, Crimson Ruse, and then there's Flayon here, Midnight, Mayon, and then there's, of course, Kitsumi, Octavio, and Jummington. Yeah, let's raid Jum. Let's give Jum a raid, just in case he hasn't ended yet. There we go. Also, I also want to do something I think that's really funny too for you guys. There we go. Let's see here. You got make these beautiful. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Terence. I believe in Terence. And that's all you get.